But I think she's gonna
Jack.
win the late mail.
I don't know what just happened.
Happy
Your
birthday.
Okay, we're good to go. I just started recording. You guys can. Sorry, you keep riffing.
Okay.
I was just trying to recreate it. It's like this? Is that what does it?
Yep.
Oh no, that's something
it.
totally
It's a different
different.
thing.
Wow.
We gotta do okay. For the listeners, Jack continues to discover new and exciting sort of video
What you
reactions.
gonna do for me? Yay,
On-
okay.
Okay, producer Sam gets it too.
Yes.
It's because I have
like-
a Mac Mini.
I see. I don't even know. I got my computer
I feel like a
computer's
rabbit.
almost 5 years old at this point. I feel deprived. Tim Apple, what's the deal?
Sad. Oh,
What
it's
is-
supposed
Is
to.
there a heart?
there's
What
supposed to
is
be
it?
rain.
What is the heart?
It's supposed to be rain.
Sad.
How do I do heart?
Yeah, there we go.
Gosh, the rain.
Yeah.
It's so dramatic.
Yeah.
I can like
No,
press
hard,
a
you did-
button on my laptop to make it happen, but like, oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
I can't see. I mean,
I'm
being
turning him
left out of
off. I'm
this.
turning him off.
Yeah,
Too
same.
distracting. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Oh, I
Bye,
didn't even know how to
Bye,
turn them
Sam.
off.
I didn't even know how to turn them on.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I wasn't,
You know what I mean?
and that time I wasn't even trying when the balloons suddenly happened. I was
Yeah.
just doing my usual thing, waving my arms around and like doing, and I guess it triggered something.
Gesticulating wildly.
Yeah,
Who among us, podcasts are a visual medium.
that's
Now they
true.
are.
It's very,
at
very
least.
true. And well, thank God we're on YouTube then.
Oh, speaking of, great segue, Jack. If you're watching us on YouTube, our newly launched YouTube channel, you need to like and subscribe. Unfortunately, we must say this now by law. But please only do it if it's right for your family. Please consult with your doctor first. We're not medical professionals or lawyers, so we can't give medical or legal advice. So,
No, it has not been approved by the FDA.
yeah. So please consult with your primary care physician and attorney before.
Yes, though I suppose
Choosing
if
to
it-
like or subscribe.
I suppose if it was approved by the FDA these days, I wouldn't really want that endorsement either.
It's probably not safe, honestly.
No.
Speaking of safe, Paul, we haven't spoken to you since the ice storms TK26. Did you guys get hit with any?
So I was in Texas when that happened. So
Oh!
I was hit on the other direction, but yeah,
You
we got-
always have that excuse.
yeah, I know for real. But yeah, it did hit North Carolina pretty hard. It actually snowed here like 5 or 6 inches the other day too.
That's crazy.
This is wild, yeah.
Because it doesn't
Global
traditionally
warming, am
snow
I
there.
right? Yeah. No, it definitely doesn't snow here ever. I mean, it
Because
like
you're too far south, usually.
usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And too close to like the mountains do in like Asheville, but yeah, that's nowhere near
Not where
here.
you are.
Yeah.
The snow here is just like a part
Still
of
here.
a part of the topography now. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just like become like another part of the city.
I heard there's no
Yeah.
crime anymore either. That's great.
Yes. Ever it's too cold to do crime.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I think Jessica Tish is just really good at her job.
she probably
right.
engineered the snowstorm.
Yeah.
She was like,
Yeah.
I know the one thing that'll keep the ruffians off the street,
Yeah. And Jack, have you
covering it all
seen
in
how-
snow.
Have you seen how they engineered it so that it's only blisteringly cold and there's a chance of a huge storm on weekends only?
Yes.
How'd they figure that one out?
Yes. No, I only get extreme cold warnings around like Friday afternoon.
What the fuck?
It really sucks.
Yes, I know.
That's terrible.
Everyone needs to be consuming more microplastics so it gets warm again. Everyone needs to do their part.
Okay,
This-
sorry. The three.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. The three of you talk like together.
Hello.
Check.
Alex.
Check.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's better. It was just you were significantly louder than the other two, and I was like, this is gonna be kind of hard.
That's better.
I think the phrase is
I have
check,
a
check,
name,
check,
Sam.
not yeah, Sam.
Oh, Okay, that'll be the new phrase.
Sam's gonna like send an assassin after me after the end of this podcast.
There's like a feature on YouTube where you can see like where the most replayed part was.
Yeah,
and
it
I think
shows
this
you
is
in
gonna
the-
be it.
Oh, absolutely.
Check.
Yeah.
Welcome to Discourse Pod, the podcast where we discuss the discourse. Jack is here.
Hello.
Producer Sam on the keys. And back in the third chair, Paul Blessed. Hey, Paul.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
What's
Welcome
up, Paul?
back. Thank God. We were just talking about this off mic right before we started recording. we did not know how perfect of a week it would be for you to come back, because it is midterms. It's another primary season. And if you wrote for this blog, I guess you still technically could. I would have assigned
I'm
you.
not going to, but
I understand completely. I would have assigned you a Paul primary post, a triple
Yeah.
P, because we had a surprise. Not surprise, I guess, like there are no actual surprise primaries, but we had a sort of a surprising result for a primary in New Jersey this week. It's to finish the term for Mejia, who was just recently elected governor of New Jersey. Can you tell us about sort of the surprising result coming out of this Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah, it was yesterday or Thursday.
Oh, right, Thursday.
But yeah,
why on a Thursday?
It kind of was a surprise primary because I honestly didn't even know it was happening until like Wednesday.
And if Paul doesn't know that it's happening,
it
really,
doesn't matter.
I don't
like
know
a
about all that,
surprise.
but yeah, it was fascinating just because there was a bunch of sort of establishment Democratic candidates running. There was the former Lieutenant Governor Taisha Way, who just left office like a couple weeks ago. She was the Lieutenant Governor for Phil Murphy for the last couple of years. And then Tom Malinowski, who was like a State Department guy who ran for Congress in 2018 and won. And then this guy, Brendan Gill, who I know nothing about other than he was endorsed by the Essex County Democratic Party. And then Analilia Mejia, who was Bernie Sanders' political director. I believe that was her title when he ran for president last time. And she was endorsed by AOC and Bernie and some other progressive groups. But, my inkling was that it was going to be between Way and Malinowski. And in the last couple of weeks, AIPAC's been dumping a ton of money into ads against Malinowski, who was relatively pro-Israel when he was in Congress, but opened the door to perhaps conditioning aid to Israel, and that was just not what AIPAC was for. And so they dumped a bunch of money into ads portraying Malinowski as anti-ICE. And so I guess the conventional thinking now is that the anti-ICE ads ended up helping Mejia win the primary, or at least right now, as of right now, she looks to be in a very good position to win the primary. There's some like late mail ballots that are coming in. But honestly, there were a bunch of shocking things about this to me. Number one is that this is a very suburban district. This is not Astoria or another place in the country where progressives are and socialists are traditionally winning.
We're far from the commie corridor.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, geographically, it's pretty close, but it's in terms of like the makeup of this place, it's Montclair and Bloomfield and all these towns in North Jersey that are very like pretty liberal,
Rich.
But yes, like way wealthier. A lot of like masters and doctorate degrees, and so this is not really a place where people like Mejia have traditionally done super well. But I think that there's a couple things happening. There's the AIPAC angle, which is crazy, but there's also the county Democratic parties in New Jersey have always been so powerful. And then a couple of years ago when Andy Kim ran for Senate, and his primary opponent was going to be Phil Murphy's wife, a bunch of the county party organizations endorsed Murphy's wife, and it ended up becoming like this big battle, and they ended the county Democratic Party line. And I think that this is one of the biggest like cases that we've seen so far of how far that's fallen and how far the Democratic Party, the county party's stock has fallen in New Jersey. The guy that they endorsed, or the guy that the Essex County Party endorsed, placed fourth behind Way, Malinowski, and Mejia. But yeah, it was a really fascinating result. There's going to be another primary in a couple months, but before 2018, the previous makeup of this district had been represented by a Republican for 24 years, and then Mikey Sherrill, who's now the governor, won 8 years ago. It's become a little bit more liberal now, but this is kind of just turning the conventional wisdom that progressive candidates can only win in the sort of seats like the one that AOC has, and it just kind of turns it on its head. The sort of line out of AIPAC today was like, we kind of wanted this to happen, which is kind of
which is so funny. It's
It's
like, no,
extremely
we meant
funny.
for this to happen.
I saw an article, I can't remember which publication put it out, but basically the gist of it was that they wanted a one-on-one primary between Wei and Mejia in June. Apparently Malinowski and Gill are not running again in that primary. And so yeah, there's a lot of like cope happening, it seems, after this, but I mean, I think we're just in a new world now. I think in 2018 or 2019 it might have been like fine to say like, yeah, a progressive candidate, like I for Splinter, I remember going to Omaha to like, talk to
Oh yeah.
a progressive who was running for the House, Kara Eastman. And she ended up losing her race by a couple points, and to this day, like DCCC staffers and people who are aligned with them will bring her up in political articles as like a example of why a progressive cannot win a swing seat. And this is not exactly a super swingy seat, but it's not a super liberal seat either. And I think that, in 2026, we're just in a different world now. I mean, I think the most pissed off voters in America are swarming to the left because they see, the daily horrors that are happening out of the Trump administration, and then the complete fecklessness that's happening from the establishment Democratic Party. And they're looking for something different, and somebody who, is aligned with the progressive wing of the party is gonna benefit from that enormously right now.
Absolutely. And isn't this also, was this the same week or was this the week after the Democrats flipped that Texas state Senate seat from like, it was like a plus 17, plus 27 Donald Trump district, just a couple of years ago, and flipped to the Democrat. Where do you see all of this rage and animosity and sort of discontent with the establishment Democratic Party? How far do you see that going? Like, what does this mean for someone like, what's that fucker's name? Graham Plattner in Maine. Anyone else coming up on who maybe has a better chance than they started? Because I was reading something earlier this week about how that New Jersey candidate was like polling at like 5%.
Yeah.
Just a couple of months ago, and now it's looking like she's going to take it. Where do you see this going?
Well, I think it's sort of clear at this point. I mean, going back to, Zohran Mamdani's primary win last year, and then also what just happened, like you said, with the polling, having Mejia so far down. I think that the polling is really undercounting the left right now, and undercounting voters who are going to the left, which has never happened. It's been, for the last, several election cycles, that's been kind of what's happened for the Republicans. I mean, especially with Trump on the ballot. But I do think that there's a deep undercounting of people who are pissed off at what's happening in this country right now. And I think that definitely is going towards me. In terms of like the Texas state Senate seat is also fascinating because the guy who ran for that seat, Taylor Remmett, if you look at his campaign page, he's like the state president of IAM, the union, I think represents Lockheed Martin. And so the union and tenants' rights part of his platform, like if you looked at his platform just on his website, and I know that he didn't campaign like this. I think he campaigned on affordability issues, which has really been sort of the bread and butter in all of these special elections, but he didn't exactly run away from a progressive platform. It's not, AOC or Zohran Mamdani's platform, but it is closer to that than, Henry Cuellar or moderate Democrats. Like he's running unabashedly as a populist, which I mean, that seat was won by Donald Trump last year by 17 points. And that swung more than 30 points to the left. And special election, I mean, I think one that says that the most activated voters in America right now are people on the left and Democrats. That's just broadly speaking on the left. And also, if this is February and this is happening, we've got 9 more months until the midterms. I mean, it could get a lot worse. I mean, like Trump is in Joe Biden territory in terms of popularity right now, and we all saw what happened with Joe Biden. So, I mean, it's going to be. I think I don't really see a way that this turns around anytime soon for him. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but I think if the midterms were held today, I think the level of landslide might shock a lot of people, but we do have 9 more months to go. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think if it does stay in this direction, I think a lot more opportunities open up. And you mentioned Graham Plattner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make any predictions whatsoever in that election. Like, making predictions at this point is just a fool's game.
Pointless.
Yeah, it's pointless. I mean, nobody knows what's happening. I mean, that's really the root of this. Like, he's polling very, very close to the sitting governor of Maine. And also Susan Collins. And this is somebody who's had some of the most insane scandals that I've seen in the last 10 years of covering politics. And he's still very much in it, still very much could win that race. Polling in Maine is super weird and always has been, but the point still stands that this is, we again are in a different time. And if things do continue trending in this direction, I think it opens up a lot more opportunities for Democrats. In Iowa, there's a couple of different candidates running for U.S. Senate there. Zach Walz, who's the former minority leader. Nathan Sage, who's a union guy. And then there's a Schumer candidate that's running too. Some of those Midwestern states have been hardest hit by tariffs. I mean, there are different localized issues that are relating to the national environment that I think really could surprise a bunch of people. And even if, Iowa or Texas doesn't flip, having that competitiveness at the top of the ticket does open up more possibilities for, congressional seats, for the state legislature, and really, I guess, providing sort of a check on what's been unopposed Republican governance, over the last like 10 or 15 years in those states.
I'm curious, Paul, what you think about the AIPAC of it all for a couple reasons. First, like I'm curious about what you think about them making like seemingly this massive mistake in how they handled like this primary. And then the thing I'm most interested by is that, I mean, AIPAC is notorious through its like many super PACs or front organizations or whatever for getting into these primaries to like oust people it deems to be too anti-Israel or to discipline people it wants to be more pro-Israel or whatever. But in running campaigns against people that are not about Israel. So like it did that very infamously, like for Cori Bush, or Jamal Bowman, they weren't running all these ads saying they don't like Israel. They were running ads saying they undermine Joe Biden. And so it's very interesting to me that they're like deflection, like cover story thing in this instance was that in 2019, Tom Malinowski voted for an ICE funding bill. If you had told me a year ago that at this point in like 2026, AIPAC would be trying to oust someone using in like an historically like moderate to liberal blue district, using their support of ICE as a wedge issue, I would have been extremely skeptical about that, to say the least. But like now, apparently, they have determined that it's such a mainstream issue and that the revulsion against ICE is so widespread that was the road they wanted to go down. So I'm just curious what that says to you about where we're at.
Well, I would say that AIPAC is, these are people who have been political operators for a long time, and they're seeing the same polling that all of the House Republicans who are retiring are seeing, and all the Democrats are seeing. Especially in districts like this that maybe might be a little bit more moderate than, some of the districts that progressives usually win. This is a salient issue for them. I think that they're their thinking probably was that Malinowski was the biggest threat to Wei, and so they were dumping money into defeating him. Just not. I think that they also undercounted Mejia as somebody who could actually win the race because the polling was undercounting her too. So like the attempt to sort of play this off is like we meant to do that, or like we meant to have like more of a one-on-one race later on in the spring or early summer. I think that that's part of the cope, but I think that they're looking at all of what's happening and the way that people are responding to it. Especially in New Jersey, a sitting congresswoman was arrested for trying to monitor an ICE facility. It's been a major story there. And I think that was definitely, involved in their calculus. They saw that this was the issue that was motivating people, especially the kind of people who are going to go outside in North Jersey in early February and vote on a Thursday. Like this is a very low. I don't know what the exact turnout is like, but 62,000 people have been counted as voting so far in that race, and it's definitely the most politically engaged people in that district voted on Thursday. And so that's who they were targeting with that. But yeah, I think that there was a definite miscalculation that they probably just did not think, or maybe they thought that like it would go to Mejia, but Mejia would be such a distant third that it just would not change anything whatsoever for them. But I think that's where their miscalculation was.
Last thing I'll say about this, something else I saw today that people were talking about was that Mejia had garnered a lot of attention because she was the only person at like this forum, this like candidate forum, to say that Israel had committed genocide in Gaza.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like the constellation of factors that we're seeing here, AIPAC deciding that ICE, this agency that like a year ago we were told like was sort of untouchable politically, and that Democrats had to like rush towards if they wanted to be relevant in politics ever again, like now is so reviled that like the most cynical people in the world are using it to try to take their political enemies out. And at the same time, the winning candidate winning in this district, which I don't have the demographics of the district to hand, but like the New Jersey suburbs of New York City, it's not Dearborn, shall we say. And so like an anti-ICE, pro-Gaza, anti-genocide message winning in that space in New Jersey says quite a lot about where we seem to be. And like, I don't know if that is going to like last. I mean, maybe Mejia will lose in June and we'll have to like come back and talk about this all over again. But even winning this one time in this situation, it's like something's happening. Something's been happening for a while, and like
people have been eager to express it.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
One other thing that I wanted to mention was that she did not have much money in this at all. Like she raised like $200,000, and I think I saw that it was like $2 million was spent against Malinowski by themselves. And I think everything that you said about AIPAC and ICE, I think is definitely resonating. But the thing that just also strikes me about this is, there are so many also local issues that are at play here. Like the lieutenant governor of an extremely unpopular governor who just left office was running in this race. The county Democratic parties are falling apart in New Jersey. There's this anger at sort of establishment Democrats and issues as usual, which I'm sure also played against Malinowski being a sitting congressman who wasn't even from the district. He was the chair of the Hunterdon County Democratic Party up until like November, and then resigned in order to run for this seat that's not in that district. But even with all of that, and then also with the anti-ICE sentiment, and then also what AIPAC poured into that, and Mejia speaking up and saying, that this is a genocide, like all of those stars aligned. But the fact that she still won is still crazy. I mean, this is somebody who was super outspent and did not have any establishment support whatsoever. There were 3 other Democrats who had different sections of the establishment supporting them. And she still was able, it looks like was able to pull it off. And I think that just, again, says something about just sort of this deep anger, not only at the Democratic Party and at Trump, but just as at political institutions in general. I mean, it just isn't working for anybody. The old way, nobody wants to go back to the old way. And again, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are just, they're actively pushing back against it. Especially when it comes to ICE and Israel. I mean, people are fed up with both Israel and ICE and want to move in a new direction. And the Democratic Party leadership is just pushing against that further and further. And I think, the more candidates like Mejia get elected, and the more the sentiment starts to, people in Congress are paying attention to what happened last night. There was an Axios article a couple months ago that said there were a bunch of candidates who said that they were not committing to supporting Hakeem Jeffries for speaker if the Democrats win back the House. There's like nothing like winning a big election that can unify a party. So we'll actually see if that happens when push comes to shove. But I think that there's a growing segment of Democrats, even in the House and definitely the Senate, who are just fed up with their own leadership. Definitely fed up with the other chambers' leadership too, in both cases. And so, I mean, I think that this is just another sort of data point or example that there's just like this very real anger out there that's being channeled into these special elections, and we'll see what happens with the midterms. But this could end up, I think has the potential to remake what the institutions look like next year, and going forward, because I do think that this idea that we're going back into this, like, Joe Biden, like we're going to heal the country and save liberal democracy, is just over. And everybody knows it's over. And now we're all trying to figure out what's different. But the only people who aren't on board with that are the Democratic leadership, it seems like.
Speaking of leadership we're fed up with, Jeffrey V. Bezos made good on his promise, and we touched on this last week, to do massive layoffs at the Washington Post, the newspaper he owns. The body count is about, 30% of all of its employees. That includes the news and business side, but amounts to about 300 of the newsrooms, roughly 800 journalists. They shuttered their entire sports desk, entire foreign bureaus, and probably countless others across the newsroom. It was a sort of a high watermark week for a lot of purpley prose, a lot of rubbernecking tweets about sort of the state of media and what we should do, and should we all get on Substack. Jack, what kind of posts did you see this week that pissed you off the most?
Well, I mean, none of the posts that I wrote about this week veered anywhere towards that.
And you would never.
No. We were talking about this a little bit in our Slack channel. Like, there's a few sort of tried and true like forums that these kinds of things take when there are layoffs. And I mean,
the media layoff tropes, yes.
It should be said these were layoffs on a scale that
we've not seen basically ever.
Yeah, basically ever. I mean,
in our lifetime at least.
Yeah. And I mean, they laid off hundreds and hundreds of people. Like, they laid off like their bureau chief in Kyiv, like in the middle of her like reporting from the war zone in Ukraine. They laid off their entire Middle East team at a time when they also said that they like want to focus on national security and like international relations.
Yeah. And effectively stranded a lot of those people, because the GoFundMe that the reporters have started in part to support those foreign reporters who were kind of stuck where they are.
Right. They're just like, okay. And I mean, so like this was off the charts in terms of the scale of it, in terms of the callousness of it. I mean, Jeff Bezos and the publisher of the Washington Post didn't even show up on this Zoom call when all these layoffs were announced. They just like left it to their
Hatchet
minion,
men.
the editor of the paper. But then I think today Will Lewis, the publisher, was spotted like in California at some NFL
He's at the
event
Super
ahead of the
Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it's just
Jesus
like, I
Christ.
mean, it's like
Cartoon
beyond
villain shit.
It's like beyond parody in terms of how like despicable this behavior is. I won't talk too much about like Jeff Bezos sucks, blah blah blah, because we sort of did that last week.
And we know.
And we know. But yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of different like things that take place. There's the like, oh, hire these people tweets,
Where?
which is like, yes, please, like, tell me where are they supposed to be hired. Like me and Paul, Alex, you're like out of the game now. Besides this, me and Paul, like, we looked into some jobs and we're clinging to them for dear life. Like, that's how it is out there.
Mhm.
Like there is not some like vast newsroom that can just snap up all of like these 25-year beat reporters from the local DC area, another place they cut, or like to do like in-depth foreign correspondence. So like there's that. There's the like, oh, billionaires won't save us, which like I did a little bit of that posting this week. But it's true, but it's
It
like
is true.
still
It's 100% true.
it's true. But there's ways to say that and ways to say it. We saw some people out there basically being like, I don't know why, like, you're shocked that Jeff Bezos did this. Like, he's a billionaire. When are we going to learn that billionaires, like, aren't here for journalism? And it's like, we know that billionaires are not here for journalism. This isn't, like, about people being, like, stunned that a billionaire did something bad to his employees. It's about people being infuriated at the state of journalism in the United States, and that journalism, just like everything else in this society, like lives and dies based on the whims of like a tiny handful of incredibly rich people. It's like, in its weird way, it's sort of like what happens after there's like a mass shooting. It's like you can plot like the responses, just from memory. And in both instances, it is because we have been here so many times before. This was like on a scale we're not used to, and it was done by someone who's particularly notable and to an institution that is particularly notable. The Washington Post historically, certainly for the last 50, 60 years, has been one of the, 2 or 3 most important news organizations in America. And now it's just sort of being left to bleed out on the street. So like, I think people revert to like some tried and true responses. That doesn't make them less true, but it does mean that we find ourselves yet again sort of at the same place. I forgot the other one, like, oh, people should go off and like just do their own thing. And it's like, yes, I obviously agree. We're very into doing our own thing. But like, sorry, you're not going to just like recreate the Washington Post
on Substack. Sorry.
Like, it's not going to happen, and like good things happen on Substack. Terrible things happen on Substack. But one thing that does not happen on Substack is like, like something that's replicating like a 160-year-old newspaper.
Yeah.
You
Warzone
know.
reporting in Ukraine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not
Like,
happening, people.
Yeah.
Like let's be clear about what's going on. We're in the midst of something terrible and transformational, and like people have to get their heads together about where we're at.
One other job that I saw was cut was the Amazon beat reporter,
Yes.
Caroline O'Donovan,
Yes.
who's been reporting on Amazon since before she went to the Washington Post and has always done really exceptional work there. The thing that I took away from it, and like to your point that this is just happening constantly now, and we lucked into these jobs. I mean, it didn't really get a whole lot of coverage, but the Atlanta Journal-Constitution also had pretty big layoffs this week, like lost 15% of its staff. It's just happening all the time now. And I think that the Bezos thing, the thing that I just keep coming back to is that Jeff Bezos bought this paper at a time when, billionaires were expected to do philanthropy, like buying a print newspaper at a time when print media was dying. And the motivations have completely shifted now. Like that was the, democracy dies in darkness era. And now it's, when it comes to Trump attacking the press, like Bezos is on board with that because, part of buying a newspaper was for publicity for himself. I mean, this is like a drop in the bucket, in his spending, and that publicity play did not work. I mean, people hate billionaires more than ever. They hate Jeff Bezos particularly, even though they like Amazon. When you poll, Amazon's popularity, Amazon is way more popular than Jeff Bezos is, and Jeff Bezos is seen, as along with Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg as one of these, just like primo villains of the tech industry. And so his motivations have changed, and this reflects those motivations changing. Also, making the opinion section now just reflect, just sort of this like shittier version of the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
No
Peggy Noonan.
Exactly. You don't even have Peggy Noonan, Jesus. But yeah, it's bleak out there. And all of what Jack said about all the responses, I think that's the thing. Like, we've been through this so many times that like I'm just reading the same things I was reading in 2017, like things that I wrote in 2017 when this was happening constantly. Like billionaires won't save us. Like I agree with that, but
Oh, word?
money does have to go into journalism somehow. And like subscriptions are not doing it. The few newsrooms that you're seeing pop up that are very successful are, sort of these like localized digital outlets. There's like Substack has produced some popularity, but like the overwhelming majority of platforms on Substack are not doing the sort of deep investigative reporting that you can do at a major newspaper with the resources to do that.
Right.
And so like I think I'm at the point where like, yes, like billionaires won't save us, but like what will? And like we need to have that conversation of like, is there anything that can make journalism have an impact now when you're competing against just like the slop of the world, and the shit that's just being thrown on Facebook and Twitter and whatever other platform, and that's the conversation I think I'm more interested in having. But I think we've also just been hearing this for so long that I'm just kind of over this idea that we just can keep saying the same things, or just like, do a newsletter instead. Like the conversation we're having in Slack this week about it, not everybody is able to adapt to a freelance career where like this sort of self-promotion that you need in order to do a newsletter or a Substack, like those are completely different skills than beat reporting. And like, we shouldn't fault people for not having the skills to do that. But it's just a terrible thing that so many beat reporters are not going to be able to find jobs doing what they know best, and are going to have to, go into doing PR or nonprofit work, or just step away from journalism entirely and do something else. And, we're losing that at the Washington Post, but like we're losing that all over the country. Like people are less knowledgeable about what their government's doing and what is happening in their communities than ever before. And we have more information than ever before. And so we need to figure out a way to get that back to a place that, I don't know, just has more of an impact than what we're saying now.
J School professor Paul Blast. We need to get you on the faculty at Columbia J School, baby.
No,
Set them
Jesus.
right.
Yeah. I didn't take a single journalism class in college, and look
You
at
don't-
look at,
you
look at
don't
how I
need
turned
to.
out.
You don't need
You
it.
really don't need
You
to.
really don't need it. You
Take
really
it from us.
You clocked it early, like, could get paid to write, could pay to write. It's that time of the week, cultural Rex. Jack, do you have anything this week?
I do. First, I have to shameless plug for this project we did over at my other house, The Nation. On Tuesday, we suspended all our coverage and did a package only featuring people from Gaza, and we called it A Day for Gaza. You can look it up on The Nation. I mean, we worked on it for a long time. Really happy with how it went. Amazing pieces there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My cultural recommendation, the best thing that I saw this week was the single episode revival of The Muppet Show.
Oh,
It like they
random.
just like brought The Muppet Show back. And
Oh, I
it was
think
really it was
it's-
really good.
Didn't Seth Rogen do that?
Yeah,
he
Seth
behind that?
Rogen, Sabrina Carpenter was in
Yes, I
it.
saw that.
Like she was really funny. Like you want to see Sabrina Carpenter singing "Islands in the Stream"
With
with Kermit the Frog. Like this is your thing. The one thing I will say is they like changed the voice of Kermit at some point in the recent future or recent past, I mean. And it's terrible. Like one of the worst Kermit voices I've ever heard. Like, how can you fuck up Kermit? I don't understand, but he manages it. But besides that, like pretty flawless. Piggy, incredible. So yes, it's like I think it's on Disney Plus. And it's 30 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
Very enjoyable.
A light in this dark time. Paul, do you have anything this week?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think two things. So I've been listening to this album, New Threats from the Soul by Ryan Davis and the Roadhouse Band.
Goes
and
off.
Yeah, it's so good. If you're a fan of Magnolia Electric Company, like Neil Young, maybe it's just really good lyrics, just super good overall. I've been watching a ton of Summer House too. So Summer House, I'll say, is the other recommendation. It's
A
just
high low. We love a high low mix.
it's a low, but it's also a high.
Are you watching? Are you like catching up?
I've been rewatching with my girlfriend like the last like 10 seasons, and then she watched the season premiere the other night, and I just didn't even clock that it was a brand new episode, so I have to go back and rewatch it because I was completely confused by it.
Amazing.
But yeah, heard a divorce is happening, so
Okay, keep us
Yeah.
keep us abreast.
yeah.
When
will do.
isn't a divorce happening?
Say that.
Always.
My rec this week is a weird one, but just walk with me. This week, I would like to recommend the app Waterminder. This is an app that reminds you to drink water. Now, is this a basic human function that we should all be able to do on our own without the need of an app? Yes. But I set a goal for a certain amount of water I want to drink. You've seen the people with like the jug with the time on the side, and like you're supposed to drink a certain amount by a certain amount of time. I can't abide by that. I think they're hideous and chuggy, for lack of a better phrase. Hence comes the Waterminder app, where you can track how much water you're drinking in a day. And it does it with a really fun visual that I'll try to show on camera. And producer Sam, let me know if this shows up. But basically, as you drink water, it's this comical visual of your body filling up with water. And I find that so visually satisfying. And like it reacts like your phone's like the water. Oh, it tilts with the phone. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh,
that's
wow.
fun.
Isn't that fun? Anyway,
Yeah, that is fun.
it's the little joys in life. Meeting an app that tracks how much water I drink. This is dark. I'm fine.
This is a perfect ad read, by the way.
Okay, which is now that you
We're
say
here
that,
for it.
we're here for it. We would love to let's go back through our list, Jack. We would love a fraction of the acquisition price of the free press.
Yes.
We are open to being sponsored by Amazon Prime.
Yes.
We have no issues setting aside our values for the right partnership deal. So
Yes.
now that we're on YouTube,
Sky's the limit.
we've spoken it out to the world. Speaking of
Like,
which,
subscribe, and give us money, please.
that's our new closer. Like, subscribe, and give us money. Jack, Paul, thank you so much, and thank you for listening to another episode of Discourse Pod. If you would like to hear the full episode, you need to be a subscriber to Discourse Blog, which you can do at discourseblog.com/subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube and would like to hear the rest of the episode, go on over to the website, discourseblog.com. Otherwise, you can listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform. Perfect screenshot. Come back next week for another episode. Bye.
Bye.
Discourse Pod is a production of Discourse Blog. I'm your host, Alex Chan. Jack Merkinson is my co-host. Our producer, editor, and art director is Sam Grasso. You can listen to every episode of Discourse Pod at discourseblog.com, on the Substack app, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts,